Alright, for this final example, with the same instructions, we still want to figure out what the interval of convergence is for our series as well as the radius of convergence. And once again, this is not a geometric power series because not everything is something raised to the power of n. We have that n cubed there that keeps this from being a geometric power series. So that means we must apply the ratio test. And so to do that, I'm going to set up the limit as n approaches infinity of the ratio of the n plus first term divided by the nth term in absolute value. So we've got the limit as n approaches infinity. The n plus first term is going to be what I get when I put in n plus 1 everywhere I see n in our nth term. So we have x minus 1 to the n plus 1 power over n plus 1 to the third power times 3 to the n plus 1. Now, we typically then divide by the nth term, but since I'll be dividing by a fraction, I'm going to go ahead and multiply by the reciprocal of the nth term. And that's going to be n to the third power times 3 to the n over x minus 1 to the nth power. And now we're at the point where we'd like to simplify, maybe using some rules of exponents so that we can cancel terms and eventually take the limit as n grows large. So I can see with the x minus 1 to the n plus 1 that we can rewrite that as x minus 1 to the nth power times x minus 1 to the first power using rules of exponents. That's useful because it's going to help me cancel with this. In the denominator, we've got the n plus 1 cubed. And again, we can use rules of exponents to separate 3 to the n plus 1 into 3 to the n times 3. So then I'm multiplying by n cubed times 3 to the n. And then in the denominator, we still have that x minus 1 to the n, but we know that that will cancel out. So now we can cancel x minus 1 to the nth power and a 3 to the n. And at this point, I do like to pull out anything outside of the limit, in front of the limit, that is not dependent on n growing large. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out the x minus 1 in absolute value because it doesn't change as n gets large. And then we've got the limit as n, wait a minute, I can also pull that out over 3. 3 is positive always, so I don't want to forget that 3 right there. So times the limit as n approaches infinity, and then we have left n cubed over n plus 1 cubed. You can see where that's going to lead here with this limit, right? Notice that we're looking at a limit at infinity. We're going to compare highest powers. They're both cubed, the powers of n, and so this is going to go to the ratio of the coefficients, which is going to be 1 over 1 or just 1. And so our result from the ratio test is absolute value x minus 1 over 3. It doesn't matter whether the 3 is in the absolute value or not, because 3 is positive no matter what. Now, to get the interval of convergence, we know that we need the result of the ratio test to be less than 1. So if I set absolute value of x minus 1 over 3 to be less than 1, this means that I want absolute value of x minus 1, I can multiply by 3 to be smaller than 3. And so that means that x minus 1 should be less than 3 or greater than negative 3. Because we're basically saying that I want all the values whose distance from 1 is smaller than 3. So to do that, I'm going to add 1 to both sides, and I'm going to get that x must be less than 4, but greater than negative 2. And there we have the interval of convergence. Note, however, that I still don't know what happens at those endpoints, because at the endpoints, if you put the endpoints back into this expression, you're going to get 1. And so the ratio test fails. Now, there's one detail that we can get right here, which is our radius of convergence. So imagine this is the x-axis. Here's -2, here's 4. The length of this interval is 6 units. Halfway through is the center of the series at 1, and the radius of convergence is half the length of the interval. So our radius is going to be 3 units. Right? It's this distance from 1 to 4. So, okay, we got that piece of information. The last thing we have left to do is to plug our endpoints back into the original series to see what kind of behavior we have at the endpoints. So I'm going to grab x equal -2, and our original series looks like this. We had x minus 1 to the n, there's our center 1, over n cubed times 3 to the n. Let's see what happens when we plug in, oops, nope, that's not an eraser. It's a new program that I'm using, so I'm still trying to figure out these erasers. Okay, there we go. Let's figure out what we get when we let x be -2. So that's going to lead to sum n equals 1 to infinity. We're going to have a -2 minus 1, or a -3 to the n, divided by n cubed times 3 to the n. All right, in the numerator, that -3 to the n can be written as -1 to the n times 3 to the n. That's because the intermediate steps that I'm doing here is this. This is -1 times 3, both raised to the n, and that leads to -1 to the n times 3 to the n. And in the denominator, we have the n cubed times 3 to the n. 3 to the n's cancel out, and so here's a new series that we've seen before. It alternates. It's an alternating series, but notice that it's also a p-series with p equal to 3. Now, since it's a p-series with p equal to 3 and it alternates, we know when p is 3, that's greater than 1, so this will converge. And because it converges in absolute value, I don't need to have the -1 to the n for it to converge. We say that this converges absolutely. This is absolute convergence because, in essence, if I don't have that and I just take the sum of 1 over n cubed, we know that that will converge absolutely. So therefore, taking away an infinite number of negative terms will still make it converge absolutely. All right, let's explore now what happens at 4, when x is 4. So we're going to take x equal to 4 and put that into our series up here. And that's going to give us sum from n equals 1 to infinity. I have 4 minus 1 to the n over n cubed times 3 to the n. Notice we no longer have any x's here. We know how to handle these series. This is going to be sum from n equals 1 to infinity. 4 minus 1 is 3, so I have a 3 to the n over n cubed times 3 to the n. The 3 to the n's cancel, so we get sum from n equals 1 to infinity of 1 over n cubed. We know this series. This is a p-series. Doesn't alternate. P is 3, greater than 1, so this will converge, and because it's already an absolute value, all the terms are positive, this converges absolutely. So what this means for our interval, recall that our interval above was -2 less than x less than 4. But now at the endpoints, we know we have absolute convergence. So I can make those less than symbols less than or equal to, because now at those endpoints, at both of them, we have absolute convergence. And so our interval includes the endpoints. our interval of convergence has to include those endpoints. And so we have a really nice interval here from -2 to 4, where the series will converge also at the endpoints, and the radius of convergence that we found earlier was equal to 3, and that wraps up this example.